Hi there, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Property Management Podcast Series. Today, we've got a little bit of different format. I've got Ashley, Vincent, and Luke from Direct Buy Realty here. We're kind of going to talk about what's going on in different aspects of real estate. So, thought that would be interesting on how that correlates with the retail part of it, the investment part of it, how property management ties into it, and just kind of some general things that are going on in the real estate industry. So, we got a lot to talk about, so we're just going to jump right in. So, if you guys want to go around the room real quick, introduce yourself. That way we can get started.
How's it going? I'm Luke Skinner with DBPR. I'm an investment acquisition specialist, so I work on the investment side of real estate.
Hey everyone, I'm Vincent Stulik, a realtor with Direct Buy Realty. I work with buyers and sellers.
And also the bodyguard for DBR.
That's true. That is true.
My name is Ashley Stulik. I'm also part of DBR, and I also work with residential retail buyers and sellers.
Awesome. A lot of experience in the room too, so that's why I wanted to bring everybody in at one shot versus doing one-on-one. So, Vincent, we're going to talk a little bit about retail. One of the starting points, I guess, when you're looking at a property is the comparative market analysis.
Absolutely.
The CMA. So when conducting that, how do you, as a real estate agent with DBR, determine the value of a home? I know there's so much that goes into that. So just kind of walk us through what that process looks like so that people on the other end, whether you're a buyer or seller, what does that look like and how they get that number?
Yep. Thank you, Reese. And honestly, I'm ready to talk about this.
He's been holding back for the last 30 minutes. That's what it was. Wait.
A long time. So, a CMA, or a comparative market analysis, is something that we use to determine the price of your home. So whether you've been in the home for 30 years or you've been in the home for 2 seconds, we're the ones that come to you, and other agents as well are going to give you a comparative market analysis as well. The most important thing with that, though, is to find out where it comes from. Where are they getting their information from? What criteria are they using? All this stuff, the reason why I do it this way, I always, whenever I send out a comparative market analysis, I say, hello, so-and-so, here's your CMA report. Criteria I used in this report is as follows. That way they can follow me, because with it being, what are we in now? We're already at the end of November, November 2018, and I can't even go back to January of 2018 and come up with the same comps.
Yeah, because it's changing constantly.
The market is absolutely changing. And if I go back 365 days, you can see the increasing market trend. With that being said, though, you really have, if you want to sell the home, it needs to be priced appropriately. Yep. So if you're getting somebody that you think is possibly lowballing you on an offer, ask them why. Just like at a doctor's office, you just ask questions. Don't be afraid. You made the appointment. Ask why. If somebody comes in and it's too high, and you think that, okay, well, based on my research, because I know that every owner and every buyer is doing their own research. So ask them why. Ask them how they came to that. The reason why I do the analysis like this, though, is because I have an appraiser's mindset. There's been two chances. One where we weren't able to get the appraised value for the executed contract, and there was another one where we were actually able to get it back up to $60,000 to the executed contract between the buyer and the seller, based on our comps. We had to go out and do it again, but we gave them our comps, and we got a new appraiser out there, and it came up $60,000. So this is very important to think as an appraiser when you're going into this, because when you do that, you're going to get top dollar. You're going to sell your property fast.
And if there's financing involved, the appraisals,
is basically the final thing. Yep. And we've seen it time and time again. One of the other things that goes into list price, though, that will affect your home is obviously loan payoff. If you have a larger loan payoff, and I'm telling you that we can sell this house in 15 days for top price at this price, but your loan payoff is making you go into the red, well, we might start off a little bit higher, to give everybody a chance. And also, seller expenses and stuff. Direct Buy Realty, we have great incentive to work with us. Not only do we do our own paperwork or your own personal contacts. We don't have any transaction coordinator fees, which are typically $350. We don't have any cancellation fees, too.
And not to name other real estate agencies, but there are companies out there that have all these fees tacked on to everything that kind of make the process a little bit more complicated than it needs to be. In my opinion, if I'm a buyer, I want it simple. I want the fee structure simple, and I want the level of service that I'm going to get from nobody else. I just don't want to be another number. I want to be a client. That people know me, my agent knows me, that they're working for me, not just for a number.
Exactly. And then and the agent isn't saying, oh, by the way, but talk to Tiffany, who's my transaction coordinator, because you want a point of contact in the sale, because this is the biggest investment, biggest sale of your life, right? For most people.
Not to get off topic, but I can remember a few years ago when I was selling a home and interviewing real estate agents, we asked about open houses, and the real estate agent come in and flat out told me, she goes, I don't do open houses, that somebody else does that for me. And I'm like, well, how is the person doing the open house going to know what's going on in the house, going to know the relationship, know how to sell it? There seems to be a gap there, but that was the model. So not going to happen with Direct Buy Realty. And in my opinion, if you really want the service level, it shouldn't happen, period.
100%.
We see it a lot.
Yeah. We like to treat people the way that we would want to be treated if we were to be on the phone calling cable servers or anything. Like actually get something done. So,
that responsive piece. So, talked about the loan, pay off the seller expenses, all the other fees that are involved. Once you get the CMA, you've identified a price that you're going to list the property you think you should purchase it at. Talk about the net sheet if you're a seller.
Yep.
What all's on that?
So seller's estimated net sheet is actually very important too, because it not only gives me direction, it gives also the seller direction to find out what they're going to come up with at the end of the day. So after their title fees, after the seller's commission, after prorated taxes, all that good stuff. What if the buyer's asking for closing costs? We can factor that in, and we get you a very accurate seller's estimated net sheet that will tell you what you're going to walk away with at the end of the day.
Yep.
So it's not going to be between $10,000 and $15,000. I mean, it's going to give you an actual number. And actually, on that note too, when I do CMAs, I don't give a gauge. I give a number, and then we work from that number, either up or down, local buyer, then we have a discussion why, and then we proceed that way. Everything down the line just comes in sync.
Right.
We do it the right way from the beginning, set up a nice base, and build from there.
Yeah.
And the seller's estimated net sheet is another item that we use to educate and also price properties and just get the conversation going on. Should we do it now? Should we wait a few months? What's the best time?
Yep.
All that good stuff.
And that's where I've seen, being on the rental side, just here recently, there's a lot of, homes that are trying to be sold for more than they should be sold for. And it's because they're being overpriced and they're just not getting the activity, so then they're coming back to thinking maybe they should rent the home. But I think it's very important to what you guys do up front, that you do the CMA, do an accurate research on the home. Don't give the wrong expectations to a homeowner, but just give them accurate. Mm-hmm. Do all this data, give them the net, estimated net sheet, so that way they know what's going on up front, and it's not just, let's try to get $30,000 higher just because. Yeah, there's some math behind it.
Yeah, exactly. And unless you have some sort of angle to that, it's whether it's acreage or something that makes it better, there needs to be something behind that, because at the end of the day, when we're selling a home, we have to think about what the buyer's agent is going to look up as far as comps, what the buyer has already looked up, because that they usually do their own research before they even talk to an agent, and what an appraiser is going to think. Yep. And whether the loan's going to say, okay, well, I'm going to pay for this. Yep. So that's the whole CMA process, and basically in a nutshell why it's so important, and why it's so important for folks if they're going to be looking at different realtors to represent them to purchase or to sell, to ask questions. Where did this number come from?
Open lines of communication.
Not just like, oh, this is gold. This is 100%. Yep. Ask me how I got there.
And
I read something the other day that I think like 80 or 90% of people that interview real estate agents go with the first one that they ever talk to. I thought that was crazy. I mean, do you go buy a car at the first price? When you're making a decision like this, you definitely want to do your homework. So I was taken back by that. So if you're listening.
With that being said, though, too, we want people to feel warm when they talk to us right away.
Yeah.
Because one of the reasons I think maybe people go with the first person is because they have a life, they have a job, they have kids, they have everything, all this other stuff going on. So they just want to be able to talk to somebody and have an actual conversation with them without going through hoops or feeling uncomfortable about it. So here we're trying to make sure that everybody feels comfortable because we know that there's other things going on in their lives.
Yep.
So we want to make sure that the biggest thing is being handled.
And I can tell you, last week actually, Vinny and Ashley we're working on some stuff on Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah.
So having that fast, responsive, professional piece on the Direct Buy Realty side is key too. Because I know there's sometimes agents can't even be reached. They're out of the country and there's just no fallback, and it's just, what do we do now?
How it happens, yeah.
So having that personal relationship. So I'm going to switch gears a little bit and go to Ashley.
Actually, if you don't mind,
Go.
I'd like to just kind of jump in on that and start with why is it important to use a buyer's agent when purchasing a home. So many reasons. It's not so many reasons that people don't even know. Number one, when you're using a buyer's agent, you do not pay any commission.
Yeah, there's no charge. You just
a lot of people do not know that. So there's no reason that you should not be using an agent. What we're going to do from you from start all the way through close is we're going to listen to you, we're going to ask you questions, what you're looking for, what you're not looking for, what your goals are. You want to be in a certain school district for your kids.
Yep.
You know, do you want a pool? Do you want no pool? Do you want to be in a certain neighborhood? Just we're going to ask you the questions.
and put yourself in their shoes.
Exactly. And then we'll set you up on a criteria. You know, we'll set you up on an MLS search with your criteria, which we can always change at any time. You know, if you say, you know what, we said we want a 2-car garage instead of a 1-car garage, we can always, you know, switch that whenever, and then you'll get the new listings as they come up. So that's the first thing that we do. And other things that we do, obviously, once you find a home, you know, we will show you the different homes that you like. You know, if you say, oh, I want to go see this one today, we're always available. We do this full time. We're not part-time agents that are, you know, can we see you, you know, can we meet you on Saturday? No. If somebody wants to go Wednesday after work,
Ready to go.
ready to go Wednesday after work to show you the house, because you know what, tomorrow somebody else could have that house. And that could have been the house for you.
100%.
And I know, like when you talk about getting a buyer's agent, most people when they start the process of looking at a home, they generally start with going to a few open houses in the area that they're looking for, and then they get in front of an agent. And again, it goes back to the first agent I got in front of is the first one I'm going to use.
Yep.
Right.
But that agent's specific to that home. They're not, you know, in your best interest to go look at other homes. They're trying to sell that home.
Exactly.
So keep that in mind. You know, you do want that personal relationship where you can just call up and you know, things happen. I mean, these processes, you could be 2 days you need a new house, or it could be a year or 2 years before you're in that. But having that constant contact and a stable realtor relationship is going to help that process make it so much easier when you're looking at a buyer's agent.
Correct. And also, some of the other things we do are is we help you find a lender if you need help finding one. If you don't have, you know, a credit union or someone that you already deal with, we have a list of reputable people that we have dealt with over the years, and we give you choices. You can call each of them and you know, compare their rates on your own. You know, you don't have to take the first one that we give you. You know, we don't get any kind of kickbacks or anything from anybody. So so then, you know, we can find lenders for you, and we also find inspectors.
Just your network of everybody.
Just any kind of vendor that you would need to, you know, once you find a house, you want to make sure that the house is up to par and, you know, you're getting the right deal for it. And so we negotiate with the sellers for you. You know, once we get that, then we go through the inspections with you, you know, then we look at the inspections with you as well. We go through every process with you so that, you know exactly, we're looking at the same things at the same time. We're not confused about what's happening. You know, we're always on the same page all the way through close. And like I said, I mean, you don't pay us anything.
I was about to say,
Yeah,
that's
the best part.
That's all.
So you don't have to deal with the agent, the other agent. You don't have to deal with the seller. You don't have to talk to anybody except for just make an appointment for an
It's like
inspector.
hiring a chief negotiator.
Yes.
So that way that they know, you know, the experience, they know exactly what to look for.
Right.
You know, you don't have to do that. Did you have your criteria? They go find the house. They can find the lenders or anything to piece the whole puzzle together.
Right. Anything they need.
Yep. And then all the way through the end.
We're there to help
So-
all the way through the end.
And to Ashley's point too about lenders, I always recommend at least 2. I always say go to your bank first,
Yep.
because most likely they have all your information anyways, or bring a little bit. And then number 2, check in with the lender, because these lenders want your money. They want the deals.
Yep.
You know, so it's always good to compare rates as well. And it's really simple, because once everything's pulled, the only thing you got to do is submit it
Yep.
to the next guy, and the next guy says, hey, I either got a better rate or not. And you can either show the lender what the bank rate was, and they'll beat it, or show that the lender will, show a better rate. Maybe the bank will beat it and keep all their stuff there. So just things to look out for.
From beginning to close, we're there for buyers, and like I said, you don't pay us anything, so there's absolutely no reason not to use us to your full advantage.
Don't think of just a real estate agent as someone that sells your house. You also need someone to represent you when you're buying a house, also, not just the agent that's trying to sell it. So shift a little bit, go back to if you're selling the home. Question that comes up quite a bit is, what do I need to do to my home to get it ready to sell? I mean, there could be anything from the basic cleaning to I've got termite damage, and everything in between. So when you're talking to a seller that asks you that general question, how does that go down the road?
Well, first of all, general cleaning is always yes. That's always a big yes. There's nothing that will never hurt anything. As far as other things, it depends on what they disclose. They're supposed to disclose everything to us or to the public.
Buyers.
Yes, to everyone. So they fill out their own sheets. Real estate agents, we are not allowed to touch it at all. We are not even allowed to write the address in. Cannot mark anything on it. So it's all 100%. The seller, so it's to their knowledge everything that they know about the house, and so obviously a cleaning would be a good first thing to do. But I get a lot of questions. Should I change my carpet? Should I change the paint? Should I change my countertops? Should I change my kitchen? And certain times yes and certain times no, and this is what I'll tell them. If you've lived in the house for, let's say, 20-30 years, you've had kids, pets, lots of traffic, and your carpet's looking a little wore out and you want to get top dollar, you live in a nice neighborhood, and of course a new carpet and fresh paint would be the first thing that I would recommend for sure. That's just a no-brainer. That's
Can I jump off that
neutral.
real quick? As far as new carpet, new paint, one of the reasons why is that we've seen together, and I'm just jumping off of Ash here, is the fact that you don't want to choose a lot of things for the next buyers as a seller. So, if you put in carpet and fresh paint, great. You have carpet and fresh paint. Carpet can be torn up and you put down whatever you want. But at least they feel bubbly, they feel new.
But as far as like countertops and things, you don't want to pick out someone's, brown countertops when they love green.
Yeah.
Or you know what I mean? Like, you don't want to spend all that money on granite when they wanted quartz or marble or something, Then you spent all that money and then you're missing some buyers when they can put their own things in there. So you don't want to spend huge ticket items unless it's things like that the AC is shopped.
Right.
It's original, and you might want to get that because they're going to find that on the inspection report, and that's a big ticket item. And a lot of times, when there is a new roof or when there's a new AC, it is very attractive because those are big ticket items. Exactly. So those are good things, but we don't tell somebody go put on a new roof.
Right.
Right away, unless there's certain circumstances. But yes, you don't want to pick out countertops and cabinets and things for other people because everybody has their own taste and everybody's going to go in and do their own thing. But as far as, if there's been a lot of traffic, like I said, pets, friends, kids, you just want to freshen everything up. Sometimes, when you try to use touch-up paint, it doesn't come out the same color after
it's been
so
there for
many
a while.
years.
Also, yeah.
So those are a lot of things that we see. So those are mostly the things that we would recommend. Just freshen it up, clean it up, but please don't spend chunks of money that you probably are not
Right,
going
it's
to
going to eat into
Mostly
that.
you're not going to get
Hey,
it back.
I unfortunately use analogies a lot of times, and in this case, it's like coming home from a vacation. What's the first thing you do? Is you wash all your clothes, you get your life back in order, right? Same thing when a buyer comes to a property. They're going to do the same thing. They're going to want to maybe paint a wall like a certain color, or maybe change the floors, whatnot. So going back to the CMA sheet and the seller's estimated net sheet, minimize, do what you need to do. Like Ashley said, if there's big ticket items out there, like AC or a roof that needs to be done, and the loans need to be able to cover that. So primary investors, primary residents, have the purchasing power to purchase these properties. So you just want to make sure everything's in good shape as far as the bones and the structure, and as far as the insides, just make it so that it's not dirty. But people want to feel a little warm and cuddly, obviously, when they go to the properties and excited. And but they also want to make the little changes. Just like when you come home, like I said, from a vacation, you gotta
make it yours.
Yeah, exactly, making it yours.
Yep.
However that is.
Yep. And keeping it clean through the whole process, from the curb all the way to the backyard fence, whatever
It
that
really
looks like.
makes a huge difference that people don't even realize.
Especially when people have pets, they don't think their animals smell.
Yeah, exactly. You get used to it. You're there with them all the time, and
Yep, you just get used to it.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
With
especially
pets.
with pets and things like that, it's great. Yeah, absolutely.
So Luke, since you're speaking up now, we're talking about investment properties. I know you work
Yeah.
with a lot of those, so it's a little different than retail.
It is.
Investors are either looking for like a flip property that they may be looking for something that needs a lot of work that they can make some money on. But a lot of what we're seeing now is buy and hold properties. Where
Yes, definitely.
people are coming in, buying it, using it for a rental, renting networks, property management.
Mm-hmm.
So when you talk to new investors, I know one of the first things that you talk about is what's your goal.
Yes,
So
that's the very first thing I ask
Yep.
investors. What is your goal? Is it long-term, short-term? For an example, are you trying to build a nest egg for retirement? Are you looking for your cash flow? Maybe you're into flipping homes and you want to make a quick profit. So these are all key points when working with an investor. Some investors want a cap rate of 11%. Some are looking at 7.5%. It all depends on what they want. And of course, appreciation. They want a home that's going to appreciate, go up in value at the same time, bring in that cash flow, because you always have your expensive property management expenses. So you want to make sure that you're not going into the red with the property, and that's the big deal. A lot of people fall in love, investors fall in love into investment properties, and that's a big no-no. You have
It's
to
a
look
business.
at it. It's a business. You have to look at the numbers, and so that's one of the things I recommend. Give me the numbers that you want. What's the rate of return that you want? What's and from there I can work on it.
And don't deviate from that. We see so many times where even properties that we list, these buyers come in and the numbers don't make sense for their goals, but they're like, you know what, it was pretty.
Yeah,
I think I'll buy that today.
Yeah, or
That's not about being pretty anymore.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
this is a money making business now, so
Exactly.
you've got to look at it a little bit differently.
Yeah, definitely. So that's where, like I said, that's the first thing I ask investors, and I go from there. Then single family and multifamily. That's my next topic. Usually, single family appreciates more, and the reason why is when buyers do have the money, they're usually looking for a detached home, and that could be privacy issues. So that's usually where
Or maintenance too.
But the cash flow is usually lower on
Right.
single family homes. Like I said, the investors might be looking for the long term appreciation when the value goes up. And the apartments do have appreciation, but they have a bigger cash flow.
Yeah.
And so it all depends on your investment strategy. Are you looking for a large amount of cash flow? Or are you looking later down 10, 15 years down the line?
Right.
Say you're buying a home, investment property for a newborn kid, you want to put it in the name. 15, 18 years from now, that property's paid off, it has
Exactly.
a cash flow, the appreciation has gone up double amount. So that's where it's very key. Very, very
And your
big
kid
deal.
can go to college.
I was
Yeah.
just going to ask that. I said, are a portion of your clients that have had any of them asked you or have told you that they're getting into this based on the fact that they just had a child?
Oh yes, definitely, yeah.
That's huge, right?
That's a huge deal.
Because it's much better than any bond, any stock market. I mean, it's something you can touch and feel.
It's tangible.
Yeah, and if
It
you
is.
don't cash out on it, guess what? You got a roof over your head that maybe you don't have to pay for when they're 18 years old.
100%.
So there's
Yeah.
so many benefits to that.
Oh, definitely, especially in a market like Tampa right now. You see it. The property values are just skyrocketing.
Yeah.
From even a year ago.
Yep.
So I see a lot of investors not too worried about the cap rate as much as where is this property located and what is it going to be worth in a few years from now.
Yep.
So that's definitely
That's the right way to look at it.
yeah.
I know I got one guy that we were managing one property for, and he called me the other night and said, I got another property I'm picking up, and it's all for his children. They're grown children, but he wants to leave them something that they can touch.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
100%.
if they need to make money, they have something to cash out on. If it's I think they're going to be 100% paid for, so they're going to be all income properties. So he's got something set up long term for his family.
Yep.
And I do recommend multifamily homes, and the reason why is a single family home is easy to rent out. But say if that renter, leaves the property, now it's vacant. Now it leaves the owner to pay all the mortgages and expenses. When you have a multifamily, say a duplex, one tenant leaves, and you still have
You have
some kind of
something.
cash flow coming in, something to
Yeah.
kind of cover expenses. And with a great management company like Rented Network, you can have it rented out right away. But also when you do renovations. Say you're doing renovations on a single family. If you do renovations on that, it just covers that property. But if you do it on a multifamily home and you only do one unit, it depreciates the other units. So you have to upgrade each unit to make sure that appreciation goes up together, which is a very big deal with investors when they want turnkey properties, but the area around is kind of going up the scale of living. And so you have to make sure if you're going to buy that property, you have to fluctuate with what's going around. So I'm seeing investors buying properties who want to just completely renovate it, up the rent, and
that's
which is great.
I love that strategy.
Yeah.
I love when we can go find a good deal and either it's like 50-60% occupied because these units need some updating, and you get a good deal on the purchase. The buyer has some cash that he can go in and renovate these units for. We can charge top dollar rent. His appreciation on the whole property is going up, and he's got it repositioned so he can sell that for whatever the appreciation, then go buy the next one.
Yeah,
Even
exactly.
bigger.
Exactly what you just said is why we all just got excited. All four of us got excited. Not because this is it, because in a perfect world, that's something
it
that
is.
would happen.
And I want to make a key point because a lot of people don't think about this. 4 units or less is residential. 5 units or more is commercial. So when you have newly investors, qualifying for residential loan is easier than commercial loan. When you're trying to qualify for commercial loan, they usually want to see a portfolio of your previous investments, and also, usually 30%.
Yeah, it's gonna be a higher down payment.
Put down,
Sure.
yeah. So qualifying for 5 units more commercial loan is a lot harder, and a lot of investors don't know that. A lot of beginner investors don't know. And like I said, for a beginner investor, single family homes is good. It's easy to qualify. You can even get into FHA, live in it for a year, get out, with only 3.5% down. And also investors who want to live on the property. Here's sweat equity that you can put into the home, live in it for 2 years. It has to be 24 months. And then any profit that you sell it past, say you buy a home for $200,000 and in 2 years you sell it for $300,000 and you've lived in there, that sweat equity is it's tax deductible, up to $250,000 for a single person, up to $500,000 for a couple, which is a huge deal.
Yeah, it is.
2 years you can put $100,000 in your pocket.
Yep.
You don't have to pay taxes, so that's a big thing for investors who are wanting to live on the property and get that sweat equity out of it.
I definitely see that there's advantages to both multifamily and single family, just from our perspective, and you touched on several, just having some kind of income coming in from properties.
Yeah.
One thing that I've seen a trend coming lately is versus a multifamily home, they're buying single family homes. So they're getting a
Same
portfolio,
Well, that
like
works
7 to 10 homes.
Yeah.
So it's kind of the same concept of having a multifamily, but they're kicking in the appreciation with that
Exactly.
also, so that they've got a little bit different areas. So that's what I've seen.
And it snowballs. It definitely does.
Yep.
So I see that too, where you have investors buying multifamily homes. Working with one who's Sue that is interested in buying 10 properties, all single family, which is great. And I think they're looking more for the appreciation and the cash flow.
The nest egg.
The nest egg,
Yeah.
for retirement.
Yeah.
And because it is a buyer's market, and it's a really good market right now.
So
And just real quick, but we're
Yep.
bundled up a little bit today and yesterday because we had a cold snap come through Florida, right? But we have to remember too, we're in Tampa, we're in Florida.
Yep.
So while everybody else is basically freezing, for the most part, we're hoping for a cold front or something to come through or something. But in this area, it's just a great.
It is.
great
yeah,
area to
we're cold at
invest in.
57.
Yeah.
Today, we're freezing.
Yeah, I brought my stuff jacket.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, we also work with a lot of investors who, buy the home sight unseen. They live elsewhere, and that's why it's so important to interview your realtors, interview your management company. Just don't go with the first person like we talked about earlier. I mean, it's
going to cost you, and I'm going to tie all that in too, because we're doing an actual investor seminar next December 13th. It's on a Thursday at 1:00 at the Advanta IRA office in Largo, and that's what it's about. It's building an investment team. It's not a sales pitch. We're just going to talk about the importance of having everything in place before you get into it versus, oh no, I need a real estate agent because I like that property. Where was my buyer's agent? Oh no, I need a management company now. I haven't interviewed anybody. Oh no, what do I do with insurance? There's so many pieces to a puzzle, whether it's an investment property, even a retail property. You need to have everything in place prior to doing the legwork, I would say.
Yep.
So we're going to do that event next December 13th, Thursday. I'm jumping my weeks ahead. So if you have a chance, come out and see us then. There's going to be other investors there. Ask questions, what their experiences are, because every investor is going to have their own experience, good and bad.
Yeah.
So it's a good time to come in and network for a few hours and see what's going on. And also, it's hosted by Advanta IRA. There's a whole other podcast on this, but self-directed IRAs and how you can use them to purchase real estate. Super interesting concept. We're also going to be doing next Friday, December 7th, giving back to the community a little bit outside of real estate, kind of. We're going to be building with Habitat for Humanity, building a veterans home. So
Very excited.
yeah,
That's awesome.
I can't wait. That's maybe why I'm jumping to next week so fast. I can't wait to do that.
Yeah.
Get outside, do something for a good cause when we have a chance to give back. And in the real estate world too, we're going to be building a house. So looking forward to that. So Ashley, Vinny, Luke, appreciate y'all coming in.
Thank
You
you for
can
having
find every one of their information on rentednetwork.com, directbuyrealty.com. They're also on our social media sites, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We do these podcasts every week. We also put out a lot of interesting content weekly. So if you're looking for a real estate agent to sell or buy a home, whether it's retail or investment, give us a call. Let us talk to you. Let us show you that what we do is very professional, fast, responsive, that we're there. Check out our reviews. A lot of stellar reviews on Google for both sides of the business. So we do what we say we can, and there's a reason we're putting out all this information is because we stand behind it. So if you need anything, just give us a call, and we'll talk to you next time. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Bye.